Hi, everyone. My name is alba rubio, and I'm an associate professor in the Department of Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering at Clemson University. It is a pleasure for me to share my NSF career journey with all of you today. So first, I would like to briefly introduce myself. So I'm originally from Spain, and I did my bachelor in chemical engineering at the University of Malaga. Then I moved to Madrid to do my PhD in the Institute of Catalysis and Petrochemistry. Then I did my postdoc at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Then I got a faculty position at the University of Toledo, where I spent 6 years, and I was fortunate to get my NSF career awarded there in 2019. And in 2021, I moved to Clemson University in South Carolina. So as I said, my NSF career journey started as an assistant professor at the University of Toledo. So as soon as I arrived there, a colleague of mine contacted the program manager to suggest me as a potential reviewer, which was great because I was really afraid of contacting them. Then in 2016, I was invited to participate in an NSF review panel. And it was a little stressful because there is a lot to learn in a couple of days, but at the same time was very rewarding because I learned a lot in there. So in 2016 as well, I participated in an NSF proposal workshop that is something similar to what you are doing these days. And that helped me a lot to understand the process and understand how the proposal should read, how you should highlight your strengths, and so on. Then the same year, I met some program managers during the ASCHE meeting. So that's the annual meeting for chemical engineers. And there were some program managers there that you could just schedule an appointment and talk to them. And that helped me to decide what programs were more appropriate for my research field. During the first couple of years, we were collecting preliminary data, and that helped me refine my research ideas and decided which one was the one that I wanted to keep for my NSF career submissions and what others I wanted to pursue using different approaches. So those years I was submitting several unsolicited proposals. Unfortunately, none of them were funded. However, in 2017, I wrote a solicited proposal with a colleague, and that was funded. And that was really helpful because it helped me build my confidence. So that was a multidisciplinary proposal that was funded by the Nanoscale Interactions Program. What we did there is merging my expertise in nanomaterials with his expertise in sensors to get this proposal that was something different, something new, right? And something that I was glad to see my research put in that use, right? I never thought my research, which was more oriented to catalysis, would be a good fit for sensors, right? So that was exciting, and has led into fruitful collaboration and different funding after that. Then in 2017, my mentor, the University of Toledo, shared his successful NSF career proposal with me, and I started writing my own. So it was really helpful to be able to see the structure, how he was explaining things, how he was highlighting the strengths, and so on. Some colleagues reviewed my proposal, the first draft of my proposal, and they provided a lot of helpful feedback. And I was able to submit it to the catalysis program in 2017. Unfortunately, that was not funded at that time, but I received plenty of feedback. So I took all of that and I used that to polish my proposal even more. Then in 2018, I addressed the comments from the reviewers and submitted this time to the DOE early career program, which was also a good fit for my proposal. This was not funded, but again, I received plenty of feedback that helped me to improve my proposal much more. In 2018, I participated in an NSF career workshop at the University of Toledo. And again, some colleagues volunteered to review my proposal and provided a lot of feedback, mostly about how to merge the research with the educational component and to make it like a real career proposal, right? Not like a typical unsolicited proposal. That year, I also worked a lot with the manager of proposal development at the University of Toledo. So she helped me a lot to improve my writing. So I was afraid that because English is not my primary language, that could affect the way that I was writing or the way that I was getting funded. So she helped me a lot to improve the way that I was writing. She helped me also by telling me this sentence is not clear or I don't understand what you are proposing here. So being able to rephrase everything in a way that even people not exactly in the field could understand was a good practice, and is something that I have been doing since then. And it has been really helpful. Then I addressed the comments from the reviewers from the 2 previous submissions, and I submitted again to the NSF Career Program. And this time it was funded. So it was great when I received the email from Dr. Bob McCabe, the program manager from the Catalysis program, telling me that my proposal had been recommended for funding between the Catalysis and the reaction engineering programs. So when you receive the career, it's a happy moment, right? So I remember calling my students, family, right? Like a very, very moment to celebrate, right? Then in 2018, my NSF career was officially awarded, right? So I got the grant and I was able to start the research. And although the COVID-19 pandemic has delayed a little the project, right? And the productivity has not been as much as I would have liked. We were able to make some progress. In 2021, we moved to Clemson University and I was able to transfer my NSF career here, which I would like to say that it's a very simple process. It's only the 2 institutions need to work together, do some paperwork with NSF to do the transfer properly. And that was really easy to do. So in my group, we focus on the rational design and synthesis of nanomaterials for catalysis and sensing applications. So we mostly make catalysts, right, that can speed the chemical reactions. So, and I always like to show with these Lego blocks, right, which are telling that if we put some pieces on top of other, right, we can kind of guide the chemical reaction and improve the conversion and improve the selectivity to the desired products. So what we do is putting these pieces in a rational way, in a way that makes sense to make reactions faster. And we're especially focusing on the design of multifunctional catalysts, which are catalysts that can do different tasks during the course of a reaction. So different things at the same time. So I wanted my group to have that focus. So rational design and synthesis, nanomaterials, and catalysts that can do more than one thing at the same time. So I came up with the idea for my career of using dual function materials to do capture and conversion of carbon dioxide. So this is what I'm showing here. This is how we illustrated in this review paper that we published with a vacuum cleaner. So dual function materials are able to capture CO2 and convert that into something else. So our dual function materials has a sorbent component and a catalytic component. So it can do 2 things at the same time. And although most dual function materials in the literature has been done to capture CO2 and convert that into methane and water, I wanted to focus on producing methanol, which is more challenging, but methanol is more interesting than methane at this point because methanol can be readily used in the petrochemical industry and can also be used as a fuel in a direct methanol fuel cell. Additionally, because the hydrogenation of CO2 to methanol is exothermic, the production of methanol, the heat released during the production of methanol should be enough to dissolve CO2 from the material. So the material is going to be able to absorb the CO2, dissolve, and convert into methanol. Then that was the research in my NSF career. So there was 4 different objectives here. Some, as you can see, different components, right? How to build these components in order to maximize the chances of getting a good amount of methanol. And this was together with my educational component that in addition to the outreach activities that I was already doing at the University of Toledo with different underrepresented groups, I proposed doing a coloring book to highlight women scientists and engineers in the area, right? So my goal was highlighting our research, but also showing kids, right, that researchers are normal people, right, that we are not nerds, right, that we like science, but also we like many other things, right? So the idea is also showing students, young students, that women can also be scientists. That is what I wanted to do with this coloring book. So I remember going to an NSF career workshop, and there was an awardee that mentioned that your educational component should be something that you really like, right? Something that really moves you. And I remember he was doing his educational component associated to the disease of a family member. And he was doing that in order to create awareness also about that disease. And I thought that was really cool because you're gonna really do that, right? If you want to do it, if you are really passionate about that. So because I like coloring books and I use coloring books for adults, right? To just disconnect at the end of the day. And I want to encourage female students, right, to pursue science and engineering. And I want to change the idea that young people might have from scientists, right? So I decided to develop this coloring book with different women scientists and engineers in the area. So we are going to be highlighted in there. So this coloring book is going to be distributed both in English and in Spanish versions, since I'm bilingual. And then students are going to have the chance to color the book, to read the stories. And then one of us is going to visit the school and do some activities with them, some experiment. And they're going to write like a paragraph explaining why it's so cool being a scientist. And the best one is going to get like a microscope toy, right? So they can see what being a scientist is. So I was able to get my female colleagues, right, excited about that. And that's what I finally proposed, right? Making this coloring book to encourage female students to pursue science. And here I wanted to show the structure of my proposal. So I think the most important thing is the project summary. This is one page, has the overview, intellectual merit, and broader impacts. And it's only one page, but it's gonna be your most important thing, right? Because it's the opportunity to cite or not your reviewer, right? So we must understand that reviewers are very busy, right? Sometimes they are reviewing in a plane or after dinner, right? So we want reviewers to be happy and excited to do what they are doing, right? Because if not, you're gonna miss them, right? And if you miss them, they are not gonna see your proposal positively, right? So then the project description is 15 pages plus references. I just added here the number of pages that it took to me as a reference. So first I talk about overall research and educational goals, then overview of proposed research, significance and innovation, proposed work, and I have 4 objectives in there, either with preliminary data or an alternative approach contingency plan, right? I think reviewers like to see that because it's like, okay, if that doesn't work, what's your plan B, right? You're proposing something that is going to be a 5-year project, right? So what about if you realize the first year that that's not going to work, right? So it's good to have a plan B and show that, right? Then intellectual merit, PI qualification and lab resources, broader impacts, in which I included the impact on the field, my educational plan, the outreach activities that I was doing related with catalysis and awareness of global warming and climate change, the coloring book, then a tentative project timeline, results from prior NSF support. I told you that I got the unsolicited proposal before, and the references. So I highlighted here intellectual merit and broader impacts because those are really important. So intellectual merit and broader impacts are important and need to be easy to find in a proposal. So you must need to take into account that when the reviewers read all the proposal and need to write the reports, they might come back to your intellectual merit and broader impacts to remind themselves what the proposal was about and what were the strength of the proposal. So make sure that those are clear sections, right? Because they are very important. And I highlighted the references not because of the number, but because references is your opportunity to cite those people that inspire you, right? So if you are proposing something and you have been reading papers for years, right, of people in your field, right? So it's also very likely that they are gonna be in the review panel. So they might be your reviewers and you don't want to miss those references, right? So there are some papers in there that inspire you, right? And that is supporting everything that you said in the proposal, make sure that you include them. Then here are 4 things that I think the reviewers appreciated based on their comments. So they thought it was organized and easy to read. So, and I think also it's because I included 17 figures. So I was told that it's a good number, 1 figure per page. I also think that because when you are reading so many pages, you just need a figure. It's kind of refreshing to see a figure, right? Where you can just kind of rest your eyes a little, right? And also you can use those figures to explain your research, right? Explain what you are saying in words, just being able to show just in an image, right? That's gonna make your proposal more impactful, right? More easy to understand. Also that I propose a new research direction, but building upon my previous experience. So I realized my previous experience was in biomass conversion, catalysis for biomass conversion. But I realized that it was difficult to get funding for that lately. So I decided to go to what was next. So I realized that CO2 conversion, capture conversion was the next hot topic in my field. And I wanted to jump into that topic. But I could build upon my previous experience because I had the experience in nanomaterials that could be used as a catalyst for this. Then I think they also appreciated that my research and educational goals were well integrated. So that means that the research is feeding the educational component and vice versa. So to conclude, I would like to give you some general advice in order, just as they came to my mind. So trust your gut, don't give up. So you're gonna be tempted if you get your proposal rejected a few times, you might be tempted in changing the topic. It's like, okay, this is not gonna work, I'm gonna change. That's maybe not a good idea, right? So unless your program manager said, okay, this is gonna be difficult to get funded for, then maybe you think about it, right? But if you pick that topic as your career topic, right? Your career proposal, because you thought that was important, right? Or that was really cool. So don't change last minute, that might be bad. So the writer's block is real. So ask for help to boost your confidence. So if you get your blank page and you have to write a proposal from scratch, it's really difficult, right? So it's good that you ask for help. So not somebody that is gonna say, oh, you can do it. No, it's not that. It's somebody that can provide feedback, be patient, right? And help you, right? So reviewers' comments are always hard. Give yourself a break and read them when you are ready. So it's really painful when you see your reviewers' comments, you feel really disappointed, sad, right? So maybe it's not the best moment to read the comments. You can wait a few days and read them, right? And then address them for the next submission. Participating in your first review panel is hard, but really recommended, as I said. Also participating in this type of grant writing workshops, also very recommended because you're gonna learn a lot about the process. Introduce yourself to your program manager. So in a conference or volunteer to serve on a review panel. So you might think that they are not gonna remember you, right? So in a conference, you are meeting with a program manager and you are like 10 faculty all together and it's like, there's no way this person is gonna remember me, right? Well, they do, they do, they are there to help you, right? And to guide you, right? So they take very seriously their jobs, right? So make sure that you introduce yourself because the program manager is gonna be a person that is really gonna affect your career, right? In a positive way. So celebrate every submission. So not only when you get the proposal, but every time that you submit it, or you put everything in there, right? So you need to celebrate, you need to rest, right? And yeah, celebrate that you did everything that you could and more, right? So give yourself time to think. So what is it hot in your field now and tomorrow? That might be a good way to find what's the best topic to put in your career, but make sure that this is what you want to do, right? So that you are picking something that you are really interested on, that is something that moves you, right? Because you are gonna do that, you're gonna be excited doing that, right? And this is something that you are gonna be doing for at least 5 years, right? And hopefully after that, this is gonna kind of define your career. So it's better if it is something that you really enjoy. Very important, help reviewers understand the strength of your proposal. So don't hide the intellectual merit and the broader impact somewhere in there. So it's not their jobs to find that, right? So make sure that that's super, super clear in there. Make sure that all components are well integrated, right? So the research and the educational component must be very well integrated. This is a career proposal, not a typical proposal. Important, not for the career, for your career in general. Build your network, right? It's important that you meet people, that you go to conferences, talk to people, right? They are gonna be reviewers, they are gonna be your collaborators, they are gonna be your colleagues, right? So make sure that you know people in your field. And just to summarize this, general advice is wax on, wax off. So polish your proposal again and again and again and again. And that will be very well written and more likely to be fundable. And with that, I would like to thank the National Science Foundation for the Career Award, which really changed my career. Then I would like to thank my group, all my students that have contributed to that. I want to acknowledge the University of Toledo, all my colleagues and all people in the research office that helped me a lot, not only with this proposal, but to be successful in general. And also to Clemson University for making my transition so smoothly. I would like to thank my program manager and the organization for inviting me, and all of you for attending this talk. So I'll be happy to take any questions during the panel discussions in a few days. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Bye-bye.